Hello and welcome to Just One More Watch. Welcome today to an unboxing style video on what I think could be the world's cheapest decent automatic GMT. If you know different, please leave me a comment, let me know if you've seen anything cheaper than this one. I'll buy it and I'll review it. GMTs are everywhere at the moment because both Miyota and Seiko released affordable automatic GMT movements in the middle of last year, 2022, and they have made their way into dozens of watches so far, with dozens on the way, I'm sure. But this is the cheapest one that I've seen, coming in at $110 US, and yes, it has sapphire crystal covering the dial as well. And you know what? From the pictures at least, it looks okay to me. It's by a brand called I&W. Now, I looked at one of their watches before a couple of years ago and I highly rated it for the price they were charging, so I'm expecting big things of this one. Now, you saw the pop-up. This watch was sent to me for free by the high-end watches store on AliExpress. They're the same company that does Mercure and Pierre Paulin watches, so a little bit different from the usual AliExpress fare, a little bit more interesting. I will of course therefore leave a link in the description of the video. $120 regular price, $110 during a sale. So it may be the cheapest automatic GMT, but the eternal question remains, is it actually any good? Let's flip the camera and find out. Alright, it is not without a little bit of fear and trepidation that I open the box today. I've been talking this one up. I recommended it sight unseen in my top 10 AliExpress sale video, based purely on the photos. Now, I have kissed a few frogs from AliExpress over the years. Who can forget that Epoch Tritium thing that I bought last November? What a donkey. So this one better not let me down. Now, when I said decent GMT, I'm well aware that there are Chinese-made GMT movements by DG and Pearl. Indeed, those movements have featured in watches by Parnis and by Pagani design that I have reviewed in the past. However, when I reviewed those watches, I was quite clear that I could not tell you how long those movements would actually last. This I&W features a Seiko NH34. We know it's not going to be particularly accurate, but we know it's going to be reliable. We know it's going to last. The usual unsigned warranty card here, don't worry about that too much. I'm worried about the watch. Let's have a look at it. Look good in the photos, as you saw. How does it look in the flesh? Well, okay, but let's peel off the stickers. You can't really tell too much behind plastic, can you? Now that is weird. The photo on the listing showed that. I thought it was a mistake, but they seem to have got some insane AR coating on the case back. A kind of golden colour on the case back. As far as I know, they don't do the NH34 in gilt, so yeah, bonkers. What is going on there? Anyway, that's immaterial compared to the front of the watch. How is the front of the watch? Yeah, that is not too bad. Now, I did say in the intro that this one featured sapphire crystal. I've picked the little sapphire sticker off, haven't wound the movement yet. There is some evidence that this one has been quality controlled, which is good. It's got an inspection certificate, once again confirming the sapphire crystal. Let me peel the tag off, get those last little stickers off, and then give the thing a wind. Well, I made that a little bit harder than it should have been. Now, the movement has started running already because I was fudging around with that plastic so much. Let's give these hands a move then. Let's wind them forward to the watch reviewer's favourite, 10 past 10. Yeah, no trouble at all with this Seiko movement. Now, these are long blue leaf hands. Now, I'm going to say here that they are made blue. They are not blued. I'd imagine that they are blue from the very beginning. Yeah, not too bad. It's one of these ones that they look black under most lights. You really do need to kind of force the blue out of them. If I pull the crown out to the first position, I should be able to wind forward the GMT hand and then wind it back to set the date to 3. Interesting style, this one. So many of these NH34 powered GMTs that have hit the market over the last 9 to 12 months now, I guess, since the SSK was launched by Seiko themselves, have been dive style. This is the first one I've come across that is more kind of dressy, daily style. Pretty simple case from what I can gather, 3-piece case, all high polished. It does look quite flat. let's get the calipers out and come back with the dimensions. Now obviously there are a set of dimensions listed on AliExpress for this one, but I always like to measure them myself because they don't always correlate. This time, however, they pretty much match. So diameter dimension of 40.7 with a thickness of 12.3. Fairly chunky for a dressy office style watch. I guess it's Seiko NH powered and they are always a little bit on the beefy side. 47.7mm lug to lug and a lug width of 21mm. Slow clap to the designers at I&W for that one. I was aware of it. I don't own a single 21mm lug width strap. Perhaps if you are a fan of the Orient Bambino, you have bought a few of those over the years, but I have not. Push-pull crown, 30 meters of water resistance. That is double dome sapphire crystal. A little bit of AR on there. I'm going to take this one outside for some macro shots in just a minute or two. Movement is a Seiko NH34 as discussed, and sized up for me it weighs 70 grams. Now I have noticed there is a little bit of plastic on here. I don't think it's going to make much difference though. Let's see. No, it makes no difference whatsoever. So that is a press-on case back. Yeah, press-on, if you do want to footer around with the movement yourself, you will struggle with a press-on case back unless you have the specific tool to press it back on. I don't. I've been doing this for 6 years and I don't have the tool to press on a case back. I've never seen that before. I don't hate it, I just don't understand it. Why would you put a piece of clearly tinted glass with wild anti-reflective coating on it on the back of the watch? No idea. Have you seen this before? Why would they do this? Leave me a comment. I'm scratching my head. The case is really very simple. High polished 3-piece as mentioned. Dome sapphire is well integrated. The crown though is a bit small and not particularly grippy. Not the worst I've seen, but definitely not the best. It's a larger watch, it's above average, it's above 40. It could definitely have taken a slightly larger crown, I think. But this is what I was looking forward to. I wanted to get it outside, get it under my macro lens and have a look at it in more detail. This macro lens takes no prisoners whatsoever. And I must say that I&W actually does okay. Some brands use renders in their listings and I was pleased to see that I&W used actual photographs of the watch, which is why I had a little bit more confidence opening the box on this one than with some other watches. For example, the hands are indeed blue, although from most angles they look black. There's some intricate and reasonably well done guilloche patterning in the center. The 1 to 24 numerals for the GMT hand are recessed, and there is a bevel around the date complication at the 3 o'clock. There's more patterning on the outer edge of the dial where the Roman numerals sit. I think this is only the second or maybe the third watch with Romans that I have looked at over 6 years and 1,000 videos. They're just not all that common these days. And beyond the Romans is a traditional train track style minute track with small batons at every minute and larger batons on the 5s. The I&W brand logo is slightly raised off the guilloche patterning in the center. I still don't understand what Carnival has to do with this or any other watch that they produce, frankly. I'd rather they ditched that and just went with I&W. Automatic and GMT beneath the pinion, again slightly raised on that guilloche patterning. GMT in red, picking out the red of the GMT hand. Overall, it looks pretty good. When I move it around, you can see the patterning catching the light. The whole dial is a kind of silver color, and those blue hands do indeed come and go. Relatively slender leaf hands. Maybe they could have bulked those up just a touch because, as discussed, it's a 41 with no bezel. That means it's all dial. It could definitely have taken slightly bigger hands, but at least they've got the lengths of the hands right. The hour hand extends just to the edge of the GMT track. The minute hand extends all the way out to the minute track, as does the second hand. Of course, if you don't like leaf hands, you can always swap them over for something else. This is just a Seiko movement after all. There are no shortage of hands to fit available on the aftermarket, but as it stands, it's all nicely done. You could certainly live with this one as a daily long term. If it fits you, that is, and it fits me rather nicely, or at least the head of the watch fits me rather nicely. The strap, ooh, I'm not convinced by the strap. It looks alright. The blue picking out the blue hands. It's also available in a black strap, or there is an all black version on the same black strap. But this is very plasticky. It says it's genuine leather. It's kind of faux croc, high patent, shiny. I'm not convinced, and like I said, I don't own any 21mm straps. at the moment at least, to swap it over with. And the watch case, as you saw, is quite flat, not a lot of curvature or downturn from those lugs. I've got a 7-inch wrist for your reference if you weren't already aware, because I mention it in every video. If your wrist is much smaller than mine, you might end up getting a bit of overhang, not really helped by the non-compliant box fresh strap, I guess. I'd maybe put this on a perlon. I find this style of watch really suits a perlon, super comfortable, and it'll take a little bit of weight off the package overall as well. Moans and niggles. Well, I have 4 of them, and I think I've covered all of them over the course of the video so far. The crown is a little bit small. The strap is a little bit plasticky. 21mm lug width is a little bit awkward, and I&W Carnival branding on the dial is a little bit naff. But if none of them are deal breakers and you want a 4-hand GMT automatic that isn't in a dive watch style form factor with the reliability and surety that you only really get from a quality Japanese automatic like Seiko or Miyota, for $110, this thing is actually alright. Have you spotted a cheaper watch with an NH34? Leave me a comment, leave me a link, I'll get it, I'll buy it, I'll review it. I might do a top 10 affordable NH34 video, if I can find 10 of them, that is. Thanks for making it all the way to the back end of the video. While you're here, why not watch another NH34 powered GMT review? I hope to see you again in the future.